Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. Jason here. Today I have a solo playthrough for Critical Care, the game. This is a card-based, fully cooperative game for 1 to 4 players in which you are playing doctors in the intensive care unit, aka ICU. As ICU doctors, we'll be taking care of our individual patients as they suffer individual maladies that will come in from turn to turn, both from their core diagnosis as well as complications that will come in and vary up the experience. Our job as doctors is to play our therapy cards, managing our time, playing cards in the proper combination so that we can treat the patient with maximum effect, and also interacting with this common row of staff that will be helping us. If we can treat each patient either by dealing with all their symptoms or moving them on to a higher level of care, then we will win a game of critical care. The game's primary designer is an ICU doctor who wanted to evoke the sense of being in an ICU as far as possible while still making it a fun game. So I wanted to make people aware that there is a balance over here. It is a mechanical experience. You can focus on the mechanisms and have a good time. However, so much of the theme is wrapped in here, both from an educational perspective with all the different therapies and medications and counseling terms and surgeries and all that, but also on an emotional side, it deals with concepts of illness, death and dying, etc. So please be aware the game is trying to strike a careful balance between fun and being serious. So if that sounds appealing to you, then please go ahead and check out this full playthrough of Critical Care that I will get into after these channel announcements. We are the One Stop Co-op Shop, a multi-platform gaming empire, and your one stop for solo and cooperative gaming goodness. All right, so how I'm going to do this playthrough is the first round I'm going to go nice and slow. We're going to do it tutorial style. I'm going to explain as many rules as come up in the first round. By the time I get through everything in round 1, you should know basically everything you need to know to get going, and then everything else will emerge from the playthrough from the rest of the rounds, which will go much quicker. Okay, so the game starts with each patient. So each player is going to have a doctor, and this player is going to play Dr. Patel, MD. And they are caring for Ramzi Ocampo. So there is a bunch of these characters, and they have backstory and all sorts of other stuff going on. I'll leave that for you to explore on your own. Mechanically, they set up some preconditions. So first of all, Ramzi's social determinant, which is a way of saying that every character comes with some kind of social condition that makes them a little bit harder to treat in a certain area. So their social determinant is heart. So I put this token over here, and they have a little bit of an infirmity when it comes to that position. So here is the infirmity section. We have 5 categories. We have brain, heart, lung, blood, and inflammation. As bad things happen, we add bad tokens, and as we do good things, perform treatments, we will be removing tokens. So the last part of Ramzi Ocampo's sheet from a mechanical perspective is this, which is the rapport bonus. There are certain cards that I can play to remove the lightning condition, which is crisis. Once I fill this up, I'm able to kind of make a better connection with Ramzi and get a benefit that will go along. I won't explain that now, but that will come up as I fill this meter later in the game. Ramzi starts with a diagnosis. So Ramzi's diagnosis is, I don't know, Guillain-Barré. You have flavor text for every single thing, and I am not going to read all that flavor text, but it is there for you to explore. The game also has a glossary. There are no conditions that the diagnosis puts down now, but from round to round, it is going to put down different maladies. So this means at the end of at the beginning of every round, which I'll demonstrate in a minute, I add 1 brain infirmity and 1 lung infirmity. Along with that, every character starts with a card from the complication deck. So along with Guillain-Barré, this person has diabetic ketoacidosis. Sure, diabetic ketoacidosis. I think I pronounced that right. The first one that goes out determines the starting maladies that go on the character. So I look at this. It says to put down 2 inflammation tokens. So that's where you get these inflammation tokens. So that is most of setup. The last thing that you need to do is place this helper token over here. This represents another track for the players to win. This side will represent actually treating and curing the patient, treating the inflammations and purifying the blood, et cetera, with therapies. Here, it's more of we couldn't help this person, so we are going to try to make them comfortable as they move on to higher level of care, different services, etc. The game called it Hospice. So there are going to be cards that allow me to move this along this track, and taking care of this client, this patient actually can also entail getting this token to the top, which means kind of a triage situation. So it's like, okay, I've triaged this person, they're okay. On the good end, I've triaged this person. I need to move them on to another physician. They have to go that way. As long as they are not in the ICU, you clear that bed. That is how you win the game. At the beginning of the game, we put our tracker on the Monday token, and then we are going to progress down the 7 days as I go through the 7 rounds. The next part of the phase is rounding, where we assess what are the new maladies that are coming in, and also apply the ongoing effective therapies. But I had no therapies in the first round, so it's just bad stuff. So you consult the symbols in the borders, the ones that have the ongoing symbol. So this one says that to read the text of it. And if the diabetic gets a little bit of insulin, then I can discard this. So I want to keep an eye out for some insulin as a treatment. So that's one of the combo-ness of the game, to look at where things match up. There's a lot of different matching. You're not going to match everything, but it's really satisfying to get some key matches to get you going. So in this particular case, it would be, this is trouble over here. We have one inflammation that we put right there off of this card. So this is a danger zone. It's not bad now, but if I were to get another inflammation, then I would have to roll the die and put the token there. If it is another inflammation, or if it happens to be a crisis token, that's really bad. Then this track starts to build up. And if this track filling up is really bad, I'll show you that in just a second. But I don't have to worry about that for now. Then I look at the diagnosis. I have one brain complication, and I have one brain malady and one lung malady. That is the setup and the rounding for patient 1. Let's talk about patient number 2, Isabella Martinez, 89 years old. In my culture, there's only one word to refer to an 89 years old Latina woman, abuela. So she is going to be our abuela for the time being. Okay, so her social determinant is inflammation. So she has an inflammation, and she also, first of all, let me go to VTAC, which is ventricular tachycardia, which is a heart disorder. And they are going to suffer a few maladies as well. So they got the opening complication, which is where they got this inflammation, and now they are going to do their rounding. So let's see right here. That means that if the patient has Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is what Ramsey has, you see how the interactions happen, there will be another thing. Don't worry about that. That is not the case. The rounding, if Foley is on this patient, just like with the insulin on the other one, then I discard the complication. So you see the matches are all coming together. We have an inflammation. We have a lot of stuff over here. Inflammation, heart, lung, and brain malady. And in addition, there are often effects that are tied to the day of the week. This is Monday, so they also get a separate crisis token. I alluded to the crisis tokens before, so here's how they work. So what's going to happen in the next round is that I'm going to pull complications that will add to whatever they got going on here. In the ICU, there are no breaks. You're always getting something. You add one per lightning bolt symbol. So on Ramsey, he only has the one lightning bolt symbol, one complication. Isabella, abuela, you are going to get 2 complications. So try not to let this grow because you get 1 per. So if I had 3 tokens here, it'd be 4 complications. That is really, really hard to deal with. This also grows to the game's loss condition. So if at any point this fills up to 5, then we have to pull a code blue, which is basically a loss condition. If you cannot fulfill whatever is on this code blue, then you lose. So really, you're just trying to manage through the 7 rounds and not get the patient to code blue. You can also lose by getting to the 7th day and not fully treating the patient. So a couple of ways to get the unfortunate outcome here. So now Ramsey has to pull, and they see what complication they get. How that works is for every subsequent complication, you check this condition over here. If they have a token in that area, then it applies to them. If they have no token, it does not apply to them. So this technically is not a heart token. So if this was conditioned heart token, they would not apply to them. However, they do have a brain token. So they get this. Hypertensive crisis. If they had hemorrhagic stroke, it'd be extra, but as it is, just these 3 tokens. There's no ongoing, so after this, I just simply discard it. And that is what that looks like. As you can see from that mechanic in and of themselves, a big thing that you want to do is clear out rows so that you increase your chances to not have complications. It's actually better to have empty rows and let some things build up than to just have tokens all over the place. That's a sure way for complications to add up. All right, so here is Abuela. I have to pull 2 complications. All right, so the condition is they have a crisis token. They do. So this is a UTI, and I'm going to have to put on another inflammation token. I can't do it, so I have to roll the die, which results in a lung incapacity. In addition, if the patient has sepsis, they do not have sepsis. If Foley is on this patient, wow, if I get a Foley, I get to discard 2 things, basically both urinary conditions, so that I can focus more on their heart condition, then I can get rid of both of these things. So that is something to look for. If I ever get a chance to dive in this deck, I don't think there's a lot of chances to dive in the therapy deck, but whatever I get, Foley is high on the list. I have to pull another complication token, blood and inflammation. It has to meet both criteria. So if they had both a blood and an inflammation token, that would apply, but I don't, so I get to discard that. All right, we are on call. Dr. Patel is in the unit for their shift. So every player is going to have a hand of 6 cards. We're going to play as many as we can, discard, and then draw it up another 6 cards. So that is pretty much a baseline. So you see, first thing to note is that there are these hours on here. The base is that you have 12 hours. You can play 12 hours worth of cards, then you got to discard the rest. Or put them in the common area. I'll show that in just a second. So there are exceptions to the rule. There's certain powers that'll let you extend your shift or will shrink your shift, but for the most part, got to go with the 12. For the most part, you have instant effects and then ongoing effects that happen during rounding. So all that bad stuff happened and then the good stuff will happen next round. So you have to take all that into account when you play. So, and there's combos you got to look out for. So let me observe a combo right here. First things first, let's play a POCUS, which is the point of care ultrasound. So this symbol interacts with the specialist. Specialist will come into play the next phase, so I don't worry about that because I have no specialist right now. This means that I remove a wild malady token. So I am going to choose to remove the heart to clear that out over there. When you remove a token with this symbol, which is the purple minus sign, which is going to be most of the instants are going to help you do that. You get that as critical care XP, and that is how we get the specialist. We'll demonstrate that in one phase. So that is 3 hours of treatment. Reason I played POCUS first was because I wanted to install a chest tube. So first things first, I don't have the little surgeon guy out there. That's too bad. But I can get rid of a lung and a inflammation malady. So that is very nice. Give me some breathing room there. Haha, breathing room. That's about as jokey as I'm going to get in this playthrough. In addition, if there were these complications, I'd be able to remove them. And if POCUS was not present, I'd have to do a complication, but that's why I played POCUS first. Always look out for those card combos. They really are the heart of the game. So we got 9 hours of therapy. I have 3 more hours to play. I have a choice. I could either do a peg tube or I can do the endoscopy. They're both 3 hours to get rid of that blood sample. The peg tube would get rid of ongoing blood, so that makes it a better card in that way. However, playing this would get me a potential complication, so I kind of want to avoid that. And right now, at least, I'm not getting blood maladies as an ongoing thing, so it might not need that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play endoscopy. I'm only going to get rid of the 1 blood token, and that's going to go on my XP sheet as well. So with these 3 cards, I spent 12 hours of time. I got rid of 1, 2, 3, 4 tokens total with these minus signs. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 XP to spend on getting a staff on call in the next phase. So then at the end of player's turn, any cards that are used that don't have ongoings, they get discarded. And you can put as many cards as you want into the common therapy area. These are available for another player to use in addition to what's in their hands. And as that player goes, they can replace these cards. You can, leave a card for a couple of rounds or just have it available for next turn. A little bit more flexibility there. At the end of Dr. Patel's turn, as I said, discard everything, and you get a whole new hand of cards. Wow! Specialist-tastic. That's crazy. So there's a lot of different combos to explore. We'll check out what's happening next turn. All right, so it is time to deal with Abuela as best we can. Dr. Colandra is now on the case. It's their shift. Some different cards. So these are two cards that are more on the palliative end, which is this track over here. So we have the chaplain, which would be improve this track. And by the way, when you play this symbol, it's not just the one progress, it's one progress per crisis. So the more in crisis they are, basically the worse they are, the further they are from winning, because if you're up here, chances are this is pretty bad, then you can progress this. It's almost like, the patient crisis, you're trying to convince them that the next level of care is what they need, so you can more easily convince them that way. And also, so like comfort measures only, this is a huge advancement of this token and only therapies with that. So like comfort measure only meaning that all the treatment, you kind of run out of options. So that is a little bit later in the game. I'm not going to give up on this client just yet. So we don't have to worry about those. Instead, we are going to start with an MRI. So right now, it doesn't do anything because they don't have the ischemic stroke, which is unfortunate. However, next round, they are going to get rid of 2 of these brain maladies. So I will get another brain malady when this procs, so there'll be 2. Then you do the ongoing therapy, so the therapy will be able to get rid of those tokens. Observe, there are these gray X's. That means I discard the tokens. They don't have the minus sign. That's when I acquire the tokens as XP. But let's get some XP right now. We have some EKG. Nice, simple card. Allows me to get a heart token, clearing that row over there. And I don't really have too many other options. The common cards I have, a heart and blood, those are clear on Abuela. So I'm going to use this blood gas. So that would allow me to get rid of a lung malady. And if I had these other cards, then I'd be able to keep it around, but I don't have these other cards. So that's just going to be a one-time thing, but that's worth it to get one more token. Common card time. I don't have a lot of stuff going on that deals with blood disorders, so that's okay. I'm going to keep this around, this ECMO. It's very, very powerful. And my abuela's ventricular tachycardia actually has these 2 maladies. So I might set up to a point where I have the specialist on call, and this can take care of a lot of things. So I'm going to keep that one in reserve just in case. And just because I've played games, every game that I've played, I've had at least one patient who has needed the comfort measures or something like it. So I'm just going to keep that in reserve. So I have 2 cards that are more longer term plays in here, hoping to draw some that are more immediately useful. It is time for Dr. Colandra to discard the rest of their hand and pull another set of cards. So we'll explore those next turn. But I did get a beep beep. Yeah, they still use pagers in hospitals. Add 1 pager alert card face down. This is more random events. Mostly bad, sometimes good, but they definitely change up gameplay. I'll have to trigger this at the beginning of Dr. Colandra's next turn. Here is the specialist row. I dealt out a random set of 5. Every game has the critical care nurse. So a couple options here. Once per patient during consulting, I can discard 4 tokens to remove a complication. So if there's one that's really bothering you, you have a little bit of an out. Or you can upgrade them with 3 tokens, which allows you to, they're kind of friendlier, nicer, Sandy Whitaker. And that allows you to build up the rapport bonus a little bit faster. So I don't want to do that quite yet because I think I like the sight of this anesthesiologist over here. So I have a couple of cards that have this symbol. Whenever I play that symbol, I may play another therapy, and its hours are reduced to 0. So this is a combo maker. You need those in this game, and especially if I want to do the ECMO, that would combo with that very well eventually. So that's the game. Learn the cards and see what goes together. So that requires me to discard 4 tokens. They're all going to come from Dr. Patel. Does it really matter where they come from, as long as, because these are all common. So I'm going to spend the 4 and put those back. We have acquired 1, so we are going to replace them immediately. ICU pharmacist, so they have this little pharmacy symbol. Therapy ignore for, sometimes the therapies will call up complications. It means I can ignore it. Discard if it's a VP therapy. Okay, so that's not a bad one. It kind of keeps things cycling, keeps the complications mitigated. I only have 2 tokens left, and I kind of like bumping up the critical care nurse, but there is a chance that I might draw play 1, maybe even 2 of these symbols next turn. So there is opportunity for combo there. So let's go ahead and acquire this ICU pharmacist, discard 1 more token. If I wanted to, I can have a 4th specialist, make it appear here, discarding that card. But that is not something I'm going to worry about for now. Resident, Darlena Liu. A nurse, a therapy, look at the top of the pager deck. Discard it or return to the top of the deck. Ooh, that pager deck is really nasty. So she might be worth bringing in. Let's do it. So we have 1 last token left. I love making combinations. So we are going to bring in the resident. I'm going to demonstrate lots of combos next turn. Bye-bye drug. And we have the pulmonologist. I don't have to worry about that so much. That might hang out for a little bit, but that is my current outlay of specialists. And that is a full round of critical care of the game. If you want to see some of those combos in action, stay tuned for this second round. All right, so let's do this in order. It is now Tuesday. So we are going to add some more conditions. We have another inflammation coming from the complication. I don't have insulin just yet. I don't think I've found any so far. And some more stat lines are filling up. We have a lung and a brain off of here. And it is also Tuesday, so another inflammation would be firing up. But since it is full, well, that is full. I don't believe you roll again. I think that just goes over to the crisis center, or the crisis area. So, yep, we're just going to build that up. It is a good thing this patient has a chest tube, though, so that I can treat them. As always in this game, you want to try to empty rows to lower the chances of complications. So we are going to get rid of that. That is not XP because of the gray X, so that just goes back into the supply. I do have to pull 2 complications, one for the social determinant and one for the crisis track. We have pitting edema. Heart, no, that is not going to apply. And, an AFib is also a heart condition. So Ramsey was able to avoid too many negative consequences. Let's see what happens with Abuela. Abuela is in a little bit of a worse spot. So she is going to add tokens from all of these other areas. Man, that is a devastating illness you have. I'm going to have to get to work on that. Also, we have 2 inflammations. We don't have the Foley. We are definitely looking for that, but we are going to roll on this track first. We have a brain, which is going to fill up that track. And we have to roll again. Inflammation, which is a crisis. And wow. Oh, boy, this is not going so well. So we do get rid of 2 brains. It's not enough to avoid complication, but at least it helps. Unfortunately, I don't have any of these snazzy toys, including mechanical ventilation. I have the card. It came a little bit too late, but I have to dump blood gas. 3 complications. 1, 2, 3. We have, does the patient have 2 blood? No. Does the patient have a crisis? Oh, boy. If the ICU pharmacist, are they here? Is in the nursing station, discard this complication. The pharmacist is on the case. I feel so smart for spending the 1 token. It's not just the power, the opportunities for combos are there. So this would have been more inflammation. That is no good, but at least I can. The ICU pharmacist steps in and says, we're overprescribing this person. Let's get their medicine right and take care of her. All right, Abuela, you managed to tough it out through all this other stuff. Let's see what else you got. That is unfortunate. Oh, well. So that is a pneumothorax. So we have another condition landing right there. Her lungs are starting to give trouble. She does not have a status asthma, whatever. Wait a minute. If chest tube is on this patient, discard pneumothorax. Unfortunately, it is Ramsey that has the chest tube, not the other one, not Abuela. So unfortunately, we're going to get hit with that set of conditions next turn. All right, so it is time for Dr. Patel to initiate her rounds of therapy. So I am showing this surgery intern. I knew I had this card, which is why part of why I was able to, wanted to spend all the tokens to have a nice outlay, because playing this card, I won't get the blood token removal because Ramsey doesn't have one, but I'm able to fire off 3 specialists, so that's pretty exciting. Let's do them in order. Okay, so look at the top card of the pager deck. Discard it or return it to the top of the deck. So if it's bad, discard it. If it's good, keep it. Overdue training, remove 1 therapy from your patient. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. We like our therapies. Mill that until we find something good. So that's okay. The anesthesiologist, I can play another of the respiratory therapies for free. So do I have a respiratory therapy for free? You bet your buns. Low volume ventilation. So nothing happens. It doesn't remove anything, but it protects her, or protects Ramsey from future pulmonary complications. So that is really nice because it just keeps him nice and protected. You see, I'm able to keep them healthy. So I think I might really focus on cleaning up a lot of his stuff. Not this turn. I didn't get the cards for it, but definitely coming down the pike. So that's a free play. And this pharmacy, if this card, this one had a complication, I would have ignored it. I can also draw a card. So let's see what I get. Get to know me board. Okay, so a palliative card. Not going to worry about that one for now, but just nice to have extra options. So the surgery intern is doing their thing. And if a little quirk in medicine that people know if you're in the field, sometimes you want the younger person to attend to you. Not all the time, but if you have somebody that is a little bit progressed out of their residencies and grad programs, etc., they are up on the latest. Sometimes they actually perform better service than the 25, 30-year veteran who may be stuck in their old ways. So surgery intern, you are a champion. That was 3 hours, and now I'm going to play the clinical nurse specialist. So I can remove a complication from the patient or upgrade the critical care nurse. So that was the other thing I wanted to possibly save my tokens for, but I knew I had this card. So I was like, all right, spend the tokens, get the specialist, and use this card to get the critical care nurse. So at this point, I does the same thing as the other side, use 4 tokens to remove a complication. Add one patient support bonus at the start of consulting. So that is automatic. And so I haven't shown you the powers yet, but the powers are pretty cool. We'll get to that when we get to that phase. Actually, before I discard this, look at that. It is another nursing outfit. That is this. I could look at another pager alert. Hypertension, lots of tokens. No, thank you. Wow, resident, you are really coming through for me. The downside to having so many specialists is that I don't have as much room for reserve. So these are contradictory cards. I think I should choose one. So what I'm going to do is, I don't have a great feeling about Isabella's current condition. So I think I'm going to lean a little bit towards hospice care, possibly. I don't know, maybe. So I'm going to save this one, the Get to Know Me board, which is another palliative card, and get rid of all these other ones and draw up a full hand of 6. Do I get a pager? No pager. On to next turn. Speaking of pager, Dr. Calandra is gotten a call. Let's go out into the hallway and see what it is about. Ethics committee, your patient. Oh, what? Oh, no. Your patient is in crisis and advanced their helper token by 1. Oh, man. Apparently, something went wrong, not with Dr. Kalandra. Perhaps something else got mixed up. Charts get mixed up all the time. Oh, boy. Looks like we have to do some things to recover Abuela's well-being. So this is not a good situation. The ICU has called a meeting. We have to figure out what we're doing with Abuela. In consultation with family, friends, and everybody, all the stakeholders in Abuela's life, we are going to make the decision to shift our treatment. We have to because she is in crisis, and right now I have no therapies available that remove the crisis. I would just be exposing her to complication after complication. I just can't do that ethically. So I am going to play a card off of the common board, the one I reserved, the Get to Know Me board. So that is a helper therapy. So the token actually progresses by 5 because I have 5 crises. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1. Yep, that's 2 to 7. And what I do is I place 4 tokens in this card. When a complication is drawn, draw one less for each one that I remove. So she's going to have a lot of complications. So that is a card that is intentionally meant to mitigate that flow. In addition, we have to talk to the family. We tried our best. Unfortunately, it became apparent very early that we need to go in another direction with Abuela's treatment. So we're going to advance the helper token by 6. We're going to initiate comfort measures. We are going to declare all therapies that they are not going to be done. I don't take off the ones that are there, but I do have to, stop it from now on. So only therapies with the helper token can be played. If the patient undergoes a code blue, then the game is going to be over. But I needed to do this. They are too close to the edge at this early stage of the game. So I'm just going to initiate some comfort measures. Now Isabella can only be moved on the victory condition attained if I am able to move this token ahead. So this is another 6. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're actually pretty progressed on this track. It doesn't take too much, especially if they're in deep crisis, to get them moved along. So we're just going to make that decision. So those are both cards off of the group row. So we get to save 2 more. Look what we have. We are going to go for the heal on Ramsey, and we have a card that could help that out. Some insulin. In addition, we are also going to put some antipsychotics up there, perhaps some lorazepam or some plenty of medications that are antipsychotics. All right, so they're going to eventually remove the 2 of these brain things. So let's see if we use that next turn as well. Draw my 6 cards, and of course, for Abuela cannot catch a break, we are going to get another pager. Hopefully we can mill the deck enough and find a positive outcome because, man, I feel bad for Abuela. I did trigger the CCRN, though, so I get to add 1 lightning token to any patient's rapport, and that is going to be on Ramsey. Ramsey's power is that I can throw out 3 therapy cards from the top of the deck and play 1 on any patient for 0 hours. If a pager is drawn, discard it. So I'm not that far away from that. And you see some of the combos. I had plenty of opportunity for combos, and if I draw more, I can hit my combo. So that's why I'm going for that. All right, on to Wednesday, round 3. We're at Wednesday, so we can add some more tokens. We have off of the here we have that. Well, that's too bad. And also, that's too bad. We are going to roll the die twice. We have 1, which is a crisis, and we have a blood, which is just going to get placed. So all the tokens have the crisis on the other side, so it doesn't matter what gets on there. What does matter is I'm going to see 3 complication cards. I've gotten a little bit lucky. Hopefully we can avoid some of this stuff, but that might not be too easy. All right, well, some diarrhea in there. We definitely meet the condition, and we are going to get another crisis. The game has definitely stepped up in intensity here on Wednesday. So because this got placed, I do get a 4th complication. So it's just going to be compounding not so good things. We have a fluid overload in the heart, but the heart is the one area that I was able to clear, so I don't have to worry about that complication. All right, this isn't going well for me, but let's see. Mucus plugging, the condition is a lung malady. However, they are on the breathing tube, a low volume ventilation. Ignore future complications if that condition includes that. So I think that this gets played. I just ignore what the effect is. So let's just leave that there. Well, I mean, there's things that discard therapy, so that makes sense that they, it doesn't just discard the complication. Okay, but I do ignore it. That's great. And the last complication, oh man, Lakshman, help me. Anyway, so I do meet the conditions because I have the tokens, but again, I would ignore it because of my low volume ventilation. I better not lose this. So Abuela, unfortunately, has a lot going on. So we have, I'm just going to group the tokens together. We have 2 hearts for that. We have 1 brain for that. No blood, but we have 2 rolls for the inflammation and 1 roll for the lung. Whew. All right, so we automatically go to crisis. That is, oh man, we have another roll that is going to be lung, so that is not a crisis, so that's a good thing. And 1 last roll is inflammation, which is going to be another crisis. So that is 5 complications that I am pulling. Holy Toledo, how did this happen? All right, complication the first. So that is going to apply plus that, which would take me to code blue. So let me focus on the get to know me board, which is going to mitigate these complications. So I get to discard 1 token and discard 1 complication. The second. Okay, RP bleed if they have blood. They don't have blood. So that is nice to avoid. That's probably going to be the only one I avoid. Number 3, tumor. That is not the only one I avoid because it's blood as well. Ooh, okay. Abuela that's the Abuela I know. You have a will to live, baby. During COVID, I know this is a touchy point for, COVID and all that kind of thing, but it was always such a great thing when the old people or the people that were acute would come off the ventilators. You'd start singing the song and people be all happy and everything. So we are singing a salsa for you, Abuela. All right, so what do we got here? Another blood. Oh my God, I did not set this up whatsoever. Holy Toledo. Let's get you off the hospital before you get hurt. There it is. We have a fever. This is the last one. I would add 1 die and then 1 inflammation for each additional complication. That would be a lot of inflammation, so we are just going to use this token. I have 2 left to keep her as steady as she goes as possible. All right, this first card play is about as easy as it gets. We've reserved the insulin, so we're going to play the insulin. So we get these 2 inflammation tokens as XP. We also fire off the pharmacist. The pharmacist would negate a extra complication if this was that kind of card, but it is not. And I also get to draw a card. Let's see what I get. A chest PT, remove 1 complication that has a air, although I have this low ventilation thing going. So nice try. At least I dove a little bit further in the deck for a card that could help me. So that's definitely a helpful card. So let's demonstrate some of the cooperation of the game. Dr. Patel is going to call on the case manager. Isabella is holding on for dear life. That was too scary. We need to get her moved on to another situation. Okay, so we are going to play with this symbol. There are 5 total crises. So we are going to move that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She is almost out of the ICU unit. Here's the one that benefits Dr. Patel's side. All patients add a lightning bolt to their rapport bonus. So that gets added over here. Not that that's going to matter. Playing the case manager actually helped me fire off Ramsey Ocampo. He had a brilliant idea from his web surfing. That's why we allow him to have all the tools and gadgets in his room. So discard everything. And fire off the power, which is draw 3 therapy cards from the top of the deck, play 1 on any patient for 0 hours. Let's see what I get. Pagers I get to discard, so that's a good thing. Get rid of those. I can, ooh, okay. DNR is like the I win button, especially if the patient has some help, so that it will be ×2. And, basically that would blow out that track and get them going. Benzos, in addition, would also help out. Ooh, that would add injury. Both of these are helper cards. So we are just going to play the one card. Doesn't matter which card I play because, let's say we play the DNR. That brings us to the maximum of the track, and that means that I discard all of these tokens, and she is now at hospice. Abuela, we tried the best that we could do for you. I hope that you're able to get care more suitable to your condition in the next place. Vaya con Dios. Dios la bendiga. You are no longer someone that I can interact with in the game. The player is still in it. The player is able to use their cards now to focus on the remaining patient. So in a way, this makes the game a lot easier because now we have double the doctors that are available to treat the available patient. So I only have 3 hours left on Ramsey, so I'm going to play the video EEG. We are going to get rid of a brain token and move it over to the XP. In addition, I have the ICU pharmacist. The ICU pharmacist is going to let me, nope, that is the resident. The resident, oh yeah, we get to draw the top card of the pager deck. Defensive medicine, yeah, complication, no thank you. We are discarding everything that is bad. I swear to you there's good pager alerts. Just haven't found them yet. I'm going to save the MRI. They get a lot of brain inflammation, so we're going to go ahead and use that. The antipsychotic I'm probably not going to use because I'm already dealing with a lot of crisis. So I just need some crisis removal. Where is it? As I said, Dr. Calandra is on the case towards Ramsey, but we have to deal with their pager. What does the pager say? Violent patient. Plus to the crisis, to the patients with the least, basically relationships. And the more this is, you kind of get your relationship going. So yeah, another crisis. Oh my God, that is horrible. I really need to work on getting that down. Do I have the cards for it? I have to add. So actually, wait. So I do have some resources. This would let me reduce, but at the cost of adding one. And this would trigger a code blue, getting it up there. So that is no way I'm playing that right now. I need to prioritize getting that down. CAT scan would do it. That, on an ongoing basis, I could reduce one of these. Decisions. So Ramsey is not doing very well in terms of his relationship with the hospital. So let's get you a sitter. So the sitter is going to increase our relationship by 1, a lonely 1. Oh, wait a minute. It's a symbol, so it actually increases it by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I'm not going to send them away. Believe me, I want to treat them and get them going. And they're not that bad. They just have a lot of it's all in their head. No, I can't say that. You know what's going on. Anyway, so that happens. I can discard the next complication added to the patient and discard sitter. If I would think that's a choice. I don't think that's a choice. I think I'm stuck with that, and they won't be able to remove the crisis. But getting rid of complication is really not that bad. And we are going to prioritize getting the CAT scan going. So to get more crisis removal going. Oh, by the way, probably people are yelling at me for not removing this. I had played the insulin, so the diabetic ketoacidosis is gone. At least I accomplished that. Let us replace antipsychotics. The last thing I want to do is add crisis to inflame the situation. So we're going to just put albuterol over here. Hopefully I can get rid of that lung thing at some point. I didn't show Dr. Patel drawing her cards, so I didn't get any pagers. I didn't get any pagers for Dr. Calandra, finally. And I got the mechanical ventilation, which a lot of cards interact with. We'll see if I can take advantage of that next turn. So I don't have any outstanding synergies that I am working on right now from the top row of case managers, kind of like what I have going on so far. So we're just going to use 4 tokens on the CCRN. they are going to discard a complication, which is going to be this, which is unremovable except with that going on over here, the diarrhea. Okay. Don't know what you did to get rid of that, but that's okay. These two complications are kept at bay with the low ventilation card. I think the low ventilation card covers both. Ignore future complications, so it's plural. So I get to ignore both of those. So maybe, just maybe, I can give myself a break and get rid of these things and move on. So it is now Thursday, round 4. As I said, I ignore both of these, but I do get the tokens from there. So we have one more lung and one more brain, but they didn't add to the crisis. Thank goodness. We are able to remove one inflammation. So that's clear now. So I have 2 clear rows to resist complications. That's really good news. So that stopped that. We get to remove a crisis. What is the text associated with this? Discard the next complication added to the patient and discard sitter. So this did get one use, and hopefully I can stick around and get some more. The CAT scan is also going to get rid of a crisis as well. So those are X's, they'll just get discarded, so I only draw 3 complications. All right, so we have the brain complication. That is going to add delirium tremens. So I believe that is going to get rid of sitter. So you did your job. You were able to keep the mental balance of my patient. So that is good to go. Next complication is going to be blood and heart. I don't have the heart, so we're going to get rid of that. Come on, baby. Oh, this word, Lakshman, go ahead and pop in the comments. Give me the phonetic spelling of this. What matters is that I had gotten rid of that, and that makes me feel really smart because I was able to discard that, and I got through without adding a complication. Okay, let's treat this patient and get them on their way. That's what I have these cards reserved for. So we're going to spend 6 hours, Dr. Patel is, on an MRI. So next turn, they are going to get rid of 2 of these brain maladies, so that's a good thing. Next, we are going to use the albuterol. We have the chaining bonus over here, but let's just take care of this first while I'm looking at it. We have -1 of the lung, and then I'm at discard right now 1 token, which is the last token I have on either of my boards, and get rid of another one. So basically replacing 1 with 2. Fair trade every single time. And then I have an EEG, which is definitely going to get used. First of all, we are just to discard that and put it on my board. And also, I have this bonus. I'm putting the resident to work. I think I've used the resident more than any single thing. That is some special stuff over here. I did have the opportunity to use a bonus with the respiratory, but unfortunately, I didn't have a follow-up card. But the resident, holy Toledo, I've been using them all day. All right, devoted family, choose one. What? Oh, give me a pager now. That is definitely going to go on top. Give me a pager. The family is going to come in and take Ramsey out. Ramsey, does your family like you? I'm not so sure. I'm sure they like you. Throw them a text message or whatever you got to get them over here. Going to reserve 2 echocardiograms because that's nice targeted removal. And that is the end of Dr. Patel's turn. Let's see if she draws her 6 and then gets the pager. She wouldn't trigger the pager until next turn. I actually want the pager now. That's not going to happen, at least for Dr. Patel. So we're going to use the echocardiograms that I had reserved. These are so useful. So 1 is going to remove 1 and put it in the XP. 1 I am going to use. They just remove stuff. So, and I also get to use that one, but I know what the top card of the pager deck is, so I don't have to worry about it. Going to use the second XP to fire off Ramsey's power again. Hopefully I can get something that can remove these tokens because my crisis tokens are all gone. Took all of my efforts, but let's see. So we have a POCUS, which is universally useful. Dialysis. Whoa. Lumbar puncture. Whoa. Oh boy. Yeah. So I get to remove all of that. Look at the dialysis. So this would let me summon the nephrologist right away. And I will remove all the tokens on these particular days, the tokens that they don't have. So this was going so well. Am I going to puncture their lumbar just to be able to get rid of these tokens? We are not going to go that invasive. We're just going to go with the point of care ultrasound and get rid of the blood token. Right now, I don't have anything that gets rid of blood tokens, so that's what is going to happen. So last but not least, we are going to put another tube in them. They have a lot of invasive tubes in them. We are really desperate to keep them alive. So if I have other stuff on there, I have to discard this. And it doesn't really do anything. I have some double up stuff going on. I don't have anything else to play, and I don't know what else is going to come out. And a random one's going to come out, so this might remove exactly what I need. We'll see. So let's do chest x-ray and physical restraints, discarding the rest. We are going to, for the rounding, replace some stuff. We are going to say goodbye to our ICU pharmacist. You did great, but we have to cycle through and try to get some other people in here. Instead, we are going to get the psychiatrist in here because I am going to remove brain. And you saw how decently useful playing cards is off the top of the deck. So I discard one token for that. See what I get out of the specialist deck. The nephrologist. Remove one inflammation from the patient. I've taken care of the inflammation for the time being. Thanks to the combined efforts of my two doctors, I think I have this one in the bag. First of all, let's just do this nice and official like. They are going to get from their diagnosis of that right there, but the low ventilation is going to keep this other complication at bay. And they only get one complication off of the top, and it could be something that I miss. It is something I miss, a pulmonary edema. So that would have been some stuff, but I get to discard it. Whew! Boy, that was a close call over here. So we get to remove that. We get to remove that and that with my therapies. This therapy is going to remove this. And we have a clean board, which means right as that happens, we are going to discharge them. Their family has arrived. Ramsey is going to leave. Don't stop believing. Oh. So that is a full playthrough of Critical Care, the game. Hopefully that gives you a sense of whether this game is right for you. Lots to learn with all the interactions. There's also this amazing glossary that comes with the game, which is not game specific at all. This is all just describing some of the things in greater detail. You also have all that flavor text. So you have a lot in here to enjoy and learn from, in addition to being a snazzy little card game. This is Jason with the One Stop Co-op Shop, reminding that we'll see you at the next stop.